Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach. It is July 27th, 2021, and we are celebrating the Olympics, and we are going to look at Olympic golf coverage, which is pretty exciting since that's only every 4 years, or right now 5 years. But I am joined, obviously, by my playing partner, Mr. Andrew Hansen. And we're ready to just get after this and get it done. It's such a unique event. So what do you think, Andrew? Are you ready?
Oh, I am. I have to be because you nailed that intro. So if I can just pronounce the course correctly, it is the Kasumigaseki Country Club, the East Course. There are 36 holes there on the property in Saitama, Japan, about an hour drive northwest of Tokyo. And it's a big boy course, Coach. Par 71, 7,447 yards at the tips.
Yeah.
We only have 3 par 5s since it's a par 71.
Right.
And my understanding of this course is that it has some big undulating greens, averaging 7,800 square feet. I did watch the flyover video, and there are some big bunkers too. That's one of the features of this course. There's some lakes that come into play. But the bottom line is you got to get it out there, get it to the green on the proper quadrant.
Yeah.
So I looked at strokes gained approach a little bit. But the other big thing about this course and this event, Coach, is that we're going to have all 60 golfers there for all 4 rounds. There's no cut.
Isn't that wild? I mean, that's what makes it so unique. First of all, you've got, teams playing other than the Ryder Cup or President's Cup. I mean, they don't get to experience the feel of, they're representing their country. So, you've got all of that intense pressure. But the other side of it, which is cool for DFS, is we don't have to sweat out any of our value plays making the weekend. So we get 4 rounds from everybody. We know the course is long and it's challenging, and it's going to be a little wet. They're supposed to have on and off rain all week. That typhoon, I guess, is blowing through in part of Japan today. So, that's going to be part of it. So the course, I think, is going to play longer. However, I think based on what I read too about the greens, it may play a little easier because you're not going to have, them off the charts on the stimp meter. You'll be able to shoot a little bit more at the pins, and then, the putts will hold a little bit. So I think you'll see decent scoring here, not, giant low scores, but it's not, from what I can see, going to be anything, like a US Open type difficulty. So, I think it seems like a true test, and it's going to be great. You got 60 guys, 4 rounds, and the scoring is interesting on both Draftkings and FanDuel for this event, and it's a points basis. You want to explain that a little bit?
Sure thing, yeah. So it's a little different than the actual Olympic event where there's only 3 that really matter, right? With gold, silver, and bronze. And here you get first place, you get 30-point bonus. Silver is worth 20, bronze is worth 18, but They don't stop there on DraftKings and FanDuel. You keep going down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 14, 12, 10 points. So it's basically the same on both sites. The only difference is you have a 1-point difference once you get to 8th place. DraftKings gives you an extra point. And then down at the bottom, FanDuel gives you a point through 40th place, and then they stop. But DraftKings, if you finish between 41st and 50th, you get 1 point, and finish 51st through 60th, you don't get a point. So not a major difference site to site, but you do need to keep in mind this scoring system. And it does play into the strategy, don't you think, Coach? Because these guys that are top 10 are going to be really aggressive come Sunday to try to get on that podium. So they're going to be shooting at pins and trying to make birdies. And so, there you are going to get that extra bonus each spot that you move up the ladder in that top 10.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've already decided on my strategy without question. I think it's, the smartest strategy. Again, it may not work, and you never know what's going to work, but I'm going to go stars and scrubs in essence, because I want like 3 guys that could get gold. And if they're scratching for a medal, they're going to bear down like nobody's business, and way more than on a Sunday regular Sunday on the PGA Tour. So, then the second half of the lineup is going to have to be guys that at least I don't have to sweat the cut, like I said, but hopefully, you get contributors in there. If you can get 5 points, 6, 7 points from some of these guys, as opposed to 1 or 0, that's a difference maker too. So, it seems like this particular way that they're giving points out for this event and the fact that it's a no cut, I can't get away from pure stars and scrubs.
Yeah, and it's right up my alley, Coach. I like to really zero in on those value plays, and now we can play them with confidence and not even have to worry about will they make the cut. I agree. The stars and scrubs approach a little bit easier to stomach this week.
Well, you're the value master, so this really is right in your wheelhouse. You should be smashing it. So I'll be playing my lineups and yours. And if you want to catch those lineups, by the way, great time to jump on. Just go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can even just jump in for a 3-day pass so you can catch all this golf. We don't have to do a weekend only, try to scratch out when we have guys miss the cut. But we'll be aboard with you all the way for the golf and, of course, Olympic basketball, a million baseball games. So we'd love to have you. And also the $88 special. Right now, if you join, you get to stay with us all the way until September 7th, which is right before the NFL starts. So just jump on dfscoachtalk.com, check it out. We have a phenomenal community. A lot of folks, when NBA ended, took a couple-day hiatus. Now they're back in, ready to rock and roll. So we got all kinds of activity going on. So it's good stuff. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of those Hansen special statistics that are going to help us hone in on who's going to do well.
Yeah, so the one of the key statistics I looked at was strokes gained approach, and we look at it a lot, but there are lots of courses where that comes into play, and I think this is another good example of that. And of course, Colin Morikawa right at the top of that stat for the year, and there he was hoisting that clear jug at the Open his last time out. So he's feeling pretty good. He's a pay-up option that I'm pretty fond of. He also has some Japanese heritage, Coach,
really,
which shouldn't hurt. Is he a stud that you're eyeing this week?
Yeah, I figured he had some Japanese heritage in his lineage there, but I wasn't sure. But I mean, regardless if he has whatever,
doesn't matter where he plays these days, right? Or what's involved. Just get him in the event.
Exactly, country, city, you name it. But he's playing so well. I mean, he's got to be thinking this has been a storybook year and a half for me. Even with COVID, he was so good before. Now he's great after, and everybody's career. And I've heard all these guys talk about it on the PGA Tour. One of the things they want to hang on their mantle is an Olympic gold. So, he's going to be ready to go, and no one's playing better right now. So he's got to be a strong consideration. His price is high. It's most expensive, but it's not like it's way over everybody else. It's in the ball game.
Yeah, and while we're on the heritage, I do also want to mention Xander Schofley because his mother was raised in Japan, and apparently he's been there 10 or 12 times, feels very comfortable, likes the culture, likes the area. I think that gives them a little bit of a boost.
Sure.
Morikawa is more expensive, but that part of it is impactful for me. And looking back at the Open, we know Morikawa won it, but Schofley did finish with a 65 in that final round.
Yeah.
So, he's coming around at the right time. I think he's worth a look.
Oh, yeah. He's always in the mix.
So getting back to strokes gained approach, Paul Casey, number 2 on that list for the season. JT is 5th. He's one of the other Americans, of course. Corey Connors. Now, here's where we get some value, Coach. He's 9th in strokes gained approach. He's only 8,800 on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Tied for 15th at the Open Championship. And he's starting to be a little more consistent.
A lot more consistent.
Yeah.
I've rostered him a ton this year, even in the big boy ones. And they don't respect him salary-wise either.
Yeah.
So I think he's a real smart play.
I do too. I think it's a steal. Next on the list, these are guys who are in the top 100 who are playing this week. Hideki, the host here, 15th in that stat. And Hideki, man, what a story for him, winning the Masters this year. And he's got great experience on this course. He won the 2009 Japan Junior. So I wonder how this will work for him with the pressure, the spotlight. I think he'll be ready to go. He's one of those other studs we can consider at 10-5 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at him. It's just, though, I can't imagine the immense pressure. I mean, on his home course, it's just, I don't know if he can hold up. That's a tough chore, but he's got the game. He's been a little inconsistent, but hey, the guy won the Masters. He's on his home turf. You got to at least think about him. I'm not quite going there, believe it or not, because I think he's going to be over-owned, and I just don't know if being that that he's home there. It may work the opposite direction, just the news coverage, the reporters, it's going to be relentless for him.
Yeah, it could, and you mentioned his inconsistency. Since he won the Masters, his best finish is tied for 23rd.
Yeah.
Not great. He has been playing big events,
right,
and only a handful of them. So I agree. It's an opportunity to fade. I'm kind of thinking about it still. Might think about him more on FanDuel. The other thing is there's not going to be spectators, so it shouldn't be too bad on site. I'm not sure what the media restrictions are.
They're still demanding. I had seen a part about that where, they're roped off in distance and that thing, but they still got to get pummeled with questions and all of that stuff. And actually, I think that's a disadvantage too. If he had the crowd cheering for him there, it's different when you get that adrenaline push. It's all the other periphery outside the lines that I think is going to distract him. But it's a bummer for him not having the fans. How cool would that be to be able to play in front of them? So that's a rough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xander's next on this list. He's 17th. We've talked about him.
Right.
How about Mr. Hovland, 19th strokes gained approach? He's 9,900, tied for 12th at the Open. He's another guy who you could get out there and not have to pay ultra high money for. I'm thinking about Hovland this week.
Oh, he's dangerous. I mean, anytime he's on the course and he's in a groove, he's dangerous. He's certainly long enough for this course.
Yes.
That'll give him a big advantage there. If he gets the putter going, he's a solid play. I think his price is very fair.
Yep. Rory's next here. He's 30th in this stat. You're shaking your head. I am too.
I just don't. I mean, he is so off his game. It's just unbelievable to me. I don't know why people are still rostering him. I was looking at some of the projections. People are still rostering him. I guess you never know when he's going to pull a little stretch out of his game and be phenomenal. But man, he's been wildly inconsistent.
He has, and I don't plan to roster him, but it wouldn't surprise me if something like this, a different dynamic, kind of wakes him up and distracts him. He's thinking a little bit more about his country, not so much about his own game. And so, I can see the idea there, and maybe lower ownership than usual because he hasn't been playing that well. But yeah, I'd rather pay up for Morikawa right now and get the guy who is in top form. Next on the list, Abraham Answer. He's 31st. I think he's a decent option. Right behind him, here's a value play for you, Coach. Norlander, 34th in that category. He's only 6,800 on DraftKings.
Yeah. It's a misprice, I think.
Yeah, he tied for 5th at the Barbasol recently.
Yeah,
and he'll go through stretches where he'll miss a couple cuts and not have any high finishes, but he also has that really good upside for a $6,800 player.
Yeah, underpriced, and he can string some good scores together. My only question with him, and I think probably on the tour, same thing. Can he string 4 good ones together? That's where he seems to struggle. If I've rostered him enough to watch, and it's always, 3 decent rounds or 2 really good and 1 decent. There's always 1 bad one in the mix. And it's not like it's always on Sunday. Sometimes it's Thursday or Friday and he misses a cut. And then, it's just amazing that he's just not been able to put it all together. But in a statistic that you're going for here is if he just gets a mid-level finish, a top 20 or something, because he's not going to have to worry about the cut. He can add points at that $6,800 price tag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Patrick Reed next at 39th. He's 10,100. He's big on the US stuff, of course. Curious if that's enough for you to get him out there. A couple things that weigh against him in my mind. He missed the cut at the Open. He was only 34th at the 3M, and I just heard today that his caddy's not going to attend. So you add it all up, and I'm not planning to roster him. You look at it,
and he's the replacement for DeChambeau.
Exactly.
So not only that, is he didn't have this long term figured out in his head,
right?
And this, so I don't think he'll have the right headspace here with getting to know at the last minute, no caddy that he's used to. Just not a good, he's a little bit light in the head sometimes as it is, but maybe stranger things have happened. It could loosen him up, and he's just like, I'm here. This is just all house money or whatever, and shoot the lights out. So I could see in a GPP, he's probably worth a shot, but I don't trust him in a cash game.
Yep. I'll round out through the next few. Shane Lowry, 41st. Joaquin Neiman, 43rd. CT Pan, 66th. I want to mention him because he's one of the guys who played in the Olympics last time.
Right.
He finished 30th, but he's missed his last 3 cuts. So I don't like his recent form. But I do like the recent form of this gentleman, Jonathan Vegas, 69th in that stat. And we know that he was tied for second last week.
Yeah.
At the 3M Open, he's only 7,400. How about Mr. Vegas?
Possibly.
Okay.
It seems like he excels in events where the fields are weak. And it seems like when it's a real strong field, I don't know if it's intimidation or maybe he's just not as talented as some of these top guys, but I don't know. I mean, the big guns are here. So I'm a little wary of him, but he certainly does come in, playing good golf.
Okay. Sebastian Munoz is 73rd, and then Mark Leishman 76th.
Yeah.
So there's a ranking of sorts of guys who are playing this week in that stat. There are some guys who don't make that ranking because they're primarily on the European Tour or some of these lesser known names who are in this event just because it's the Olympics and they qualified in various ways. But I think that's a good start. I also wanted to go through the guys who did play in 2016. There are only 9 of them who are playing this year, Coach.
Okay.
And none of them medaled. The highest finisher who's back is Thomas Peters. He finished 4th. He does have 3 straight top 35s. He's 8,100. I think that might be a little pricey for me, but if you went with more of a medium build, he could make the cut. Patrick Reed was 11th back in 16. Ashen Wu was tied for 30th.
Wow.
I dug in on him a little bit. He's about 36 years old. He plays on the European Tour. He has 3 wins lifetime on the European Tour. He's made 4 of his last 5 cuts, 6,500. So, he's one of the guys in the value category that I think you could consider. I like this little added dimension if they played in the Olympics last time, that they've gone through it and have that under their belt, and they have an understanding of the emotions and how that can impact their play. Do you think that gives a little boost?
Yeah, I put a check mark next to all the guys that have played in Ryder Cups and even President's Cups and then the Olympics, because those are really the only true, you're representing your country. It's not about you kind of events. So a lot of these guys have never played at any of those. And I think there's a distinct advantage to the group that has. And, I would say, Olympics is probably number 1 for all of them, but I think the Ryder Cup's like just a smidgen behind. I mean, it's stuff that legends are made of. Even President's Cups are important too, but that's that feel that you're talking about. And man, in golf, I'll tell you what, that's so important. It's not like basketball or football where you get in the flow and you're just going and you're playing. Golf, you're thinking, before every shot, between every shot, over a putt. Man, I'll tell you what, it is a head game, and it's going to be definitely part of what goes on here. So I do have some odds I wanted to share, unless you had any other stats.
Oh, let me just finish out
Okay.
2016 Olympics. The other 5 guys, we've got Fabrizio Zanotti, who finished tied for 15th. He's only 6,400.
Wow. What's
And
he been doing, though? That's the question.
yeah, he's another guy, mid to late 30s. He does have 2 lifetime wins on the European Tour. And he's high on the greens and regulation stat. He's
Okay.
above average there, which I like. So he's a value guy I think you can look at. And then you have Ryan Fox, finished third for 39th. He's 6,900. He made the cut at the Open. Gavin Green finished 47th. He's missed 6 straight cuts, so we don't need to go there. And then our man Jonathan Vegas finished 50th. So to your point, in that one, he did not do well with the other big names around him, but he does have the Olympic experience. And then lastly, Anirban Lahiri was 57th, so didn't do too well, but he's cheap, and he finished tied for 3rd at the Barbasol recently, so some decent recent form. So that's the group that played in 2016.
Yeah, I like Lahiri. I've played him different times. If you pick the right spots for him, he's pretty decent. And the fact that he has that experience and that his price is so low, it's not a bad play. All right, let me share the quick, about the top 18 guys we'll go over, because those are the ones I think really are the group that has a chance for gold here. And these are the odds to win the Olympic gold from our friends at betus.com.pa. The favorite, of course, Morikawa, 7.5 to 1. Xander is 9. JT 10. Rory's 12. That still amazes me, but who knows? He'll probably win it. Hovland is also 12. Matsuyama 12. Paul Casey 16. Patrick Reed is 20th or 20 to 1. He's in that top 10. Abraham Answer 22. Cam Smith, who I think is a nice little play, at 22. Joaquin Niemann's also 22. And then you have Connors, Lowry, and Fleetwood, all in that 25 to 28 range. And then Leishman rounds out that top group, and then it drops off pretty much from there. So, my goal is to get 2 or 3 of these guys, Andrew, and I've been messing with it, and you can do it. You got to get a little imaginative there with the last guy or 2, but it's possible. And, if I can have 3 guys that I feel comfortable with that are literally strong gold medal contenders, then that's my initial goal going in. Because you get that, gold or silver, even that 30 or 20 points, it's going to be hard to catch up. You can't really take anything down unless you get some medals in here. So I think you got to fire at it. Because, what are the chances, you go down just a little bit, what are the chances Carlos Ortiz or Alex Noren or Thomas Detry, those guys are all like 50 to 1 in that next group. Are they really gold medal contenders? It's if they can get a medal, that'd be phenomenal. But I want the guys that are going to, take that first tee and down deep, say, I can get a gold here. And I'm not just playing for position or to try to slide in and grab a bronze or something. And, that attitude going in for even guys like Cam Smith, Joaquin Niemann, let alone the Justin Thomas, Xander Schofley. So I think there's a lot of guys at the top of this that are 25 to 1 and under. And I think the gold and maybe silver at least will come out of this group.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you can take anything down this week if you got 4, 5, 6 as your top finishers. You got to get on that medal stand to get those bonus points.
Yeah.
And so I agree. It's important to focus in on that group. If I were going to bet it, Morikawa would definitely be in consideration, even though it's not the best return. But, if you can, in terms of your lineup, then if you can find a way to get 3 of those guys, then, I like that approach. And you mentioned Sung J Im. That reminded me of one other psychological twist at play in the field this week. I read the reminder that if one of these South Korean golfers earns a medal, they
Mhm.
get a release from the 2-year military requirement
Oh,
in
wow.
South Korea. So Sung
I
Jae Im,
remember that from last time.
yeah. So Sung Jae Im and Siwoo Kim are the two guys to watch there, and they both have been practicing a lot lately to get ready for this event. Um, if you look at their recent form, we've talked a lot about Sung Jae Im not being at the top of his game. He did
Right.
finish tied for 8th in Detroit, tied for 47th at the John Deere. So that's something to keep in mind for him. And then Siwoo Kim tied for 58th in Detroit, withdrew with a back injury at the John Deere. And their strokes gained approach 80th and 81st. So not really what you want, but do they just get extra motivated here? That is something to play for.
I would certainly be extra motivated. It's like it's Lee. I don't know if you heard the Lee Trevino story. He said, "Yeah, these guys, they make a putt, they win 2 million. They miss the putt, they win 1.5 million. Like that's not pressure." He
Right.
said, "When you go out on your course and hustle, like he said he did when he was a teen, and he says you're playing somebody for 20 aside and 20 overall, and you only have $5 in your pocket. That's pressure."
Right. Exactly.
So we'll see how these guys can react to it. And I'm really intrigued. I mean, these guys are in the same routine year after year, the same majors, the same preparation, just to see how the JTs and such, react. Because remember, a lot of these guys didn't go last time because of the what was it, the mosquito thing in Brazil, the virus or whatever that was. Remember that whole
Yeah.
deal. And so a bunch of the guys backed out at the last minute. So, this will be the first experience for some of these studs that are top 10 in the world to try something they haven't done before.
Yeah, and again, with that group that played in the last go round, none of them medaled. So nobody in this field has earned an Olympic medal. And I
No,
agree, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch down the stretch with the pressure, who steps up and who falters.
I can't believe Justin Rose isn't playing. He's the defending gold medal champion.
Yeah.
You would think he would have they would automatically, that should qualify you
Yeah, they should
no
have
matter
3
what.
bonus spots for the
Yes.
medalist, no matter what their world ranking is. If they can still play golf like at Augusta, you can always come back if you earned a medal.
Heck yeah. I
Yep.
mean, you owe that guy that much, for crying out loud, but that's good. We'll have 3 new medalists. We know that much.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. All right. Any other giant words of wisdom here on any, I do have a few guys I wanted to mention to you and get your feedback because you're the king of value. How about our buddy Migliozzi, 8,400? What do you think of him? He had that stretch there where he was right in the thick of it for quite a while.
He really burst onto the scene.
Yeah.
Then he missed the cut at the Open, right?
Right.
So, and in that price tag, I think I'd rather go elsewhere.
Okay. Higo's right next to him.
Yeah. I mean, since he won, he can't barely make a cut. So he's got the upside. But not my favorite this week.
Those are the kind of sneaky guys. But anybody that says Corey Connors is not the real deal, come on, man. He's had 7 top 10s, 20 of 25 cuts. I mean, he's been a machine.
He is.
And at 8,800 to be sub 9 with those stats. I mean, you look at guys that are above him in the pricing, Shane Lowry and even McIlroy, in my opinion. I mean, these guys haven't played the golf that Connors is, and he's representing Canada. So I think that this is a great opportunity for him to medal.
Yeah, he's striping it.
Yep. And that's it, really. I'm saving a couple of my wild card guys that for our members. So if you want to check it out, we are going to be posting lineups. It's a little strange. So for members that are listening, and then if you become a member, we are actually going to post lineups this evening. And the reason we're doing that is a lot of people have to work all day tomorrow. And because of the oddity of the time, the lock time tomorrow for this golf, 4 rounds of golf, is 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 here. So rather than people trying to race and get shut out or jam stuff in, We wanted to give out lineups. We know the course, we know the conditions and the players. So we're going to put those out there. So if you want to join us, we will give a full FanDuel lineup, and then we'll have a clipboard for DraftKings, which will give you a core group and some other players to consider to fill out your roster. So this is a great time to jump in.
Yeah, you're right. DFSCoachTalk.com is where you sign up, and we'll send you an email to get you into our Discord.
Yeah, last two things. If you're watching this on YouTube, please take a second, thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, click the alert up in the corner. That's really important. We have podcasts constantly for all of the Olympic basketball, all of the NBA Summer League. We'll have some MLB podcasts that are mixing in. And of course, we do this golf podcast weekly. So lots of activity. You want to hit that alert button so you know when these podcasts are up. And if you're listening audio-wise, anywhere podcasts are heard, whether it be Podbean, Stitcher, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we just ask you to take a quick second, hit the 5 stars and a quick comment. And in 4 days, our man Joe Stanton will be picking randomly out of anybody that has put 5 stars in a comment. You'll win a free full access week at DFS Coach Talk. So that is it, my friend. Anything else that you want to throw in there, or are we ready to tee it up?
Let's tee it up.
All right. Well, we really do appreciate you listening in, and we'll certainly be back to the regular tour next week. But man, this is going to be fun. Lots of golf to be found, and you can watch a ton of it too. They're covering a lot of it on the NBC network. So enjoy it. Thank you for listening in. We really do appreciate you, and we'll look to see you tomorrow when we crush it in DFS.